All right, let's get more on this from John Tierney, who is a former U.S. Congressman from Massachusetts. John, appreciate you being with us. Should the White House release this transcript? Opponents are arguing that this could set a dangerous precedent to disclose phone calls with other world leaders. And then there are concerns among other world leaders having their phone calls released.
Well, look, if other world leaders aren't involved in a questionable practice, they shouldn't be concerned about having their phone calls released. And this president can release it. He has the authority and the power to decide what stays classified and what gets unclassified. And given the circumstances here and given his track record as just a blatant liar, I think it's obligatory that he release it and let people see just what happened so there can be a decision made as to how to proceed.
You were a Democratic member of Congress. If you were still a member of the House of Representatives, would you pursue impeachment at this point?
Look, I would pursue a release of this material right now. I think the investigations are ongoing, and I think that the Judiciary Committee is doing that and should continue to do it. I think the Speaker, Pelosi, has been intelligent in her approach about it. Lets the facts speak for themselves. And when it gets to the point that there's evidence that really demands moving forward and will have some public support as well, that'll be the time to move. But this issue here with the president, again, obstructing the ability of Congress to do its job may just be that fact that sends this thing to the absolute impeachment process that will have to be required. If he's going to continue to obstruct, if he's going to continue to make practices like this where he's using foreign powers to advance his own political ends, I think that that's something that has to be investigated, and impeachment would probably, if it's true and accurate, be a result.
Why are we seeing such a break in the Democratic Party over impeachment? Because there are representatives and senators that are calling for impeachment proceedings to start now, before this transcript is even released. Why is there such a break within the party over this?
Well, there are a number of reasons, not the least of which is the Republicans are just absolute puppets for the president, so they're not going to get any support there, which makes this a partisan issue, when in fact it should be an issue of protecting the prerogatives of Congress versus the White House, and Congress doing its job. So some members are in districts where there are probably fewer Trump supporters, and they are able to go out and be very vociferous about this. There are others who feel they're in a much more contentious or divided district, and they want to be a little more cautious to make sure that they can bring their public along. But the fact of the matter is that the facts may just be what propelled this thing to a full-blown hearing and process on that, and his continued obstruction is certainly going to send things in that direction as well.
So Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, who has been largely running point on this, said in an interview over the weekend that there is a lot of evidence of Hunter Biden's connections with Ukraine and Biden's knowledge of it. If that's the case, what does this mean for Biden's presidential campaign?
Well, first of all, it's not the case. There's not a stitch of evidence in that regard. And it's one of the problems with the United States press. They're so timid and afraid to just report the facts as they are. And they always want to set up this false narrative of things on the one hand, on the other hand. There is not any issue or any stitch of evidence that the Bidens were involved in anything that was corrupt or inappropriate. There is, however, a very serious question about this president obstructing Congress's ability to do his job. And he's just about admitted that he had these conversations which were propelling his own interest, through a foreign medium. So, I mean, why is the press going back and forth and trying to make it believe that there's some false equivalency here? That is one of the reasons why some members are hesitant to go out, because they don't believe the story is being reported full blown. Here's a president who's lying and obstructing, and he has not a stitch of evidence. He has an attorney in Rudy Giuliani who has been known to just do whatever the president wants him to do. If that includes lying and misleading, that seems to be okay with him. And he admitted in one interview alone that he was, in fact, having these kinds of conversations with the president of Ukraine. So, if people start reporting it as it is and reporting the facts, and if that gives people an ability to move forward on this, and if the president is forced to divulge that material and he declassifies it as he should, then we'll get to have an idea of exactly what happened, and people will be able to proceed for what's in the best interest of the country, not what's in the best political interest of Donald Trump.
All right, we'll have to see what happens as the White House currently weighs releasing the transcript of that phone call. John Tierney, a former U.S. Congressman from Massachusetts, appreciate you being with us. Thanks for that.